the experience kind of goes like this. They come in interested in working with people, intent on trying to do good and to be helpers, but they're completely clueless about what this means and how they might go about it. And so for them, they go through this transformational experience that I think is pretty magical. They start out with this green naivete, but yet a pretty powerful interest. And at the end, they emerge as incredibly competent, and in my judgment, fully capable entry-level professionals. And the way they get there is through a series of incremental small wins, if you will, where programmatically we deliberately and very intentionally try to provide them with challenges as well as the supports to succeed at those challenges that over time link together in building and enhancing their professional competence. There was a group of students in one of my classes who decided to look into why students in a local elementary school had such high absentee rates. And so they framed a process that they were going to engage in, and the first part of the process basically was one of data collection and beginning analysis. So they developed some questionnaires, and they went out into this local community trying to better understand why students who attended this particular elementary school missed school so often and were ill so presumably for so much. Now, interestingly, the students went in with sort of a built-in bias, and the built-in bias was they were of the presumption or assumption that parents weren't being as dutiful and as caretaking as they should be in attending to their kids' wellness. When they went to the elementary school, sure enough, the data was very clear. These kids at this particular school had incredibly high absentee rates in comparison to students at other elementary schools. So they're out in the field, and one day a pair of the students are in the backyard interviewing a woman, mother of some school children, who were hanging up her clothes. Nice sunny fall day. And as they're hanging up, the mother's hanging up the clothes and the students are walking her through this questionnaire, the students discover that even though it's kind of like been a nice sunny day and it hadn't rained, the ground was kind of mushy. And as they're walking around, the one student described, my feet were kind of going in this muck. And in the middle of the interview, the students heard this bubbling sound. And one of the students said, "What's that?" And the mother said, "Oh, that's the septic tank." And she pointed to the septic tank, which helped explain the muck. And at that point, something pretty crazy happened. Student looked at the mother, looked at the muck, and glanced over and saw the wellhead that served the family 50 feet to the left in the yard. Wait a second. Maybe they're flushing their toilets on top of their wells. Well, long story short, indeed they were. So the students abandoned their initial strategy. Rather than running around collecting and doing interviews, they ran around collecting well samples from all the houses, or as many wells as they could in the community, partnered with the biology department at the college, had them tested, no surprise, fecal coliforms galore. That led to a project that the students that semester put together, basically aimed at community education. There wasn't anything in the short term they could do to prevent the contamination of the well waters, but they could at least prevent the families from consuming it, and by getting them fresh potable water. The cool thing that came of this was that finding led to that community being fast-tracked for a public sewage project through the county. That community was Mill Creek, Pennsylvania. Transformational? I'd say so. Pretty cool.